So what do we really know about the Bronze Age collapse? We know there was a lot going on. Earthquakes, droughts, famine, warfare, popular uprisings. There was no shortage of turmoil wherever you looked.
3,300 years ago, the Mediterranean was sprawling with civilization. Dozens of city-states, kingdoms, and regional powers all working together, intermingling in the world's first true global economy. War was not uncommon, but trade and diplomacy were always foremost on the mind. Life in the late Bronze Age was almost idyllic. Evidence suggests there was a 300-year lead-up to the Bronze Age collapse with record low rainfall, brought upon from a global cooling event believed to have originated from the Great Hekla Icelandic volcano. Droughts ran rampant. Sediments from the area surrounding the Dead Sea point to a potential 50-meter or 168-foot decrease in water level over this period. Furthermore, ancient pollen samples collected from southeastern Anatolia exhibit signs of water scarcity, corroborating earlier evidence still from stalagmite and stalactite formations in Anatolian caves. Once there was a shortage of water, there came a shortage of food. As the famine spread, disease and plague were soon to follow. As the dead began to pile up, their beloved laid to rest, there was no other conceivable choice but to pick up and move on. And so began the mass migrations to ensure their survival. Evidence from the Western Mediterranean points to a vast decrease in population and mass migration of peoples including the Shurden of Sardinia, the Nuragic culture, and Shekelesh of Sicily around the turn of the 13th century BCE. A stele located in Tanis, commissioned by Ramses II, states that in the second year of his reign, around the year 1276 BCE, a formidable band of sea raiders, including the Shurden, were wreaking havoc on the trade routes of the eastern Mediterranean. Ramses II later devises a trap, culminating in the defeat of these raiders at the Battle of the Delta. The survivors were taken prisoner and either enslaved or integrated into the Egyptian military. It's another 70 years until Ramses II's successor, Merneptah, documents a massive battle against the Libyans and their Sea People allies. From 1200 BCE, the Sea Peoples are encountered often and recorded attacking and in some cases, such as Ugarit and Kadesh, completely laying waste whole cities. Some evidence from this time points to the tin trade becoming disrupted, causing bronze production to near entirely grind to a halt. Turning our focus towards the northern Med, it is suspected by many scholars that this time period, roughly 1200 to 1100 BCE, is where the Trojan War fits. Homer's Iliad speaks of a devastating war between the Mycenaean Greeks and a possible Hittite vassal state by the name of Walusia. We have come to know this as Troy. It is not known with any certainty why the Hittites did not assist their vassal, but it may be safe to say they had other fronts to cover before any respite could be had. While the Hittites were relatively safe from the Sea Peoples deep inland, deploying their soldiers to assist their southern allies appears to have left them vulnerable to attack from an old enemy to the north, the Kaskans. I should note, some research has suggested around 1225 to 1175 BCE, Greece and western Anatolia experienced a sharp increase in earthquake activity dubbed an earthquake swarm by some. That being said, the evidence is far from conclusive and alternatively suggests the increase in destruction around this time is directly correlated to popular uprisings against the palace-dwelling elites of the Achaean Greek society. By the year 1180 BCE, the northeast Mediterranean had gone silent. Ramses III records on the walls of Medinet Habu, the 8th year of his reign, around 1178 BCE, an ambush is prepared on the banks of the Nile Delta, and the Egyptians brace for the full might of the Sea Peoples. A strange enemy composed of possibly more than a dozen different peoples arrives at their shore, but it's not just soldiers, but their wives and children too. Nonetheless, the Egyptians know they cannot support the massive strain it would mean to their population. They fight for their very survival, both sides with everything to lose and everything to gain. The Egyptians annihilate the invasion force and push out the last of the sea peoples. Ramses III had saved Egypt, but at great cost. He would eventually be remembered as the king that led to the Egyptian decline. Egypt would never again reclaim the land it controlled at its height. The Phoenician city-states would survive, although for decades to come they would answer to their Assyrian masters. In the end, Assyria would be the only major power to enter the Iron Age relatively unscathed. The resulting 200 to 300 year period after the Bronze Age collapse is often termed the First Dark Ages. This being as we see a significant decrease in the written word. The late Bronze Age collapse was a cacophony of events, easily overcome challenged one by one, but all at once led to a complete reshuffle of the board and possibly some of the darkest times ever known by modern humankind. In the span of one generation, all progress of the Western world was restarted from scratch. If you enjoyed this video and like science, history, and technology, follow along to keep in the loop.